Hello guys, it's me, Becky B, back with some new content that isn't stream related for once. I saw Lavender Town on YouTube make a video where she cartoonified Spotify album covers, and I thought, damn, that looks really fun. I'll link her channel in the description. So the rules of this channel, did I say channel? Challenge. The rules of the challenge were draw whatever album shows up when you click on the repeat Spotify button, and I added a rule myself, which is I don't follow the rules, so I basically just ended up picking album covers that I liked and decided to draw them. So we start off with the album cover for MXM Tune, and it's called The Masquerade. I love her song Prom Dress, and thought it would be a really fun album to start off with because I really like the way it looks and the little masks in the background. But I usually never draw with line art, so drawing something in a cartoon style was definitely a bit of a challenge for me. So for editing purposes, I had to skip part of most of the line work or line art process. The video would have been a half an hour, and that just couldn't fly otherwise. So we go straight into the coloring, and here I'm laying down the base color and shading the hair so it has that nice gradient from a darker color to a lighter color. I spent a lot of time figuring out a new way to shade a drawing for this one, because I usually just don't do line work, as I said, and I just blend all of the colors together until I think it looks nice. But it's a little bit harder for me when you have these set rules, which you do with the line art. So you can see me picking out areas here that I want to be highlighted and blending them slightly, and areas that I want to be shaded and blending them slightly, because I didn't want that perfectly blended sort of look for this one. I wanted a more solid, you have divisions between the shadows and the base colors and the highlights, and I still do go in with an airbrush to soften up some of the looks because it got a little bit too harsh, but I think it turned out nice. And here I'm going into the hair and highlighting that to make sure that it looks all nice and put together. And I decided to add a shadow on one side of her body and highlight coming in to the other side, which she doesn't have in her album cover, but that I just thought it was cute. And I colored the line art because I see a lot of artists that draw with line art do that. And here I'm coloring in the eyelashes a little bit to make them pop, and softening, making the line work a little bit softer. So it's not just black line art, because that can sometimes it looks really good, and sometimes I think it can be a little bit distracting. So I start with the background, and you can see me just draw a shit ton of ovals, circles. They're not circles, they're ovals, until I find a shape that I like, and I just copy paste that so it fills the whole background, so I can draw her masks that she has hanging on the wall. Which for the record, I thought it was really cool that she decided to not have real masks and have like a screen with painted masks in the back instead of real masks hanging there. So she has that cartoon background that she stands in front of in her real album cover. I thought that was really cool. And I ended up just picking the colors off of the album cover and then making them slightly more vibrant because they became a little bit pale, because whenever I paste in pictures into my art program, they tend to get like a little bit bad quality, a little bit grayish. Here I'm just drawing out the faces, because they had so many cute little faces. I like the one with the little hard eyes. I thought that was really cute. And I just blurred the background. So I start with my finishing touches, and yeah. Album cover number 2. This is Caravan Palace with their album Chronologic, and they're my favorite band of all time. And this is one of my favorite albums that they've created. And if you haven't listened to them, you have to do it now. Do it now. I swear to God, please. This whole painting process was a challenge. Let me tell you, I do not draw robots. I do not I do not draw with line work, so it was two things that I was not very comfortable with doing, especially since it's not even, the robot isn't even metal textured. It's like rock stone-ish textured. So it was a challenge. And here you can tell that I decided to scrap the whole line art idea because it wasn't working out and it looked ugly, and I was like, you know what, we're gonna do the best we can, we're gonna paint over, we're gonna blend it in. So this became more of a drawing something in my style than cartoonifying it, because it didn't really turn out cartoonish. But I also said earlier that I scrapped the rules, so technically if I don't follow the rules, and I say that in the beginning, I can get away with almost anything, so it's okay. And here you can see me just going back in with that light yellow beige-ish color over and over to get some type of volume into the painting that was very, very flat before, because cartoon paintings are generally supposed to be very flat colored. You have your line work layer, you have your base colors, and then you have a shade and maybe like a highlight color, maybe some gradients, but you don't add much volume to it because it's not necessary. In this case, I didn't succeed with that, so I went back to what I knew, which was blending, adding layers, adding volume, because that's how I usually paint. So here you can see me adding scratches. I'm trying to fix the eyes desperately, and it's not working out. I'm doing my best. I decided not to draw the bottom part of the torso. I drew it in the sketch, I think, but with the line art, I was like, no, that is, no. I'm just gonna make it bigger so no one can tell. But I am exposing myself here, so you guys can't tell. It's fine. And I decided to add a thing that I haven't done in any of my paintings before, but I think it looks so creepy whenever people do it, and I love creepy art. So I took these eyes out from a 1970s magazine I found online, and I put them in front of the eyes of the thing, and I thought it looked kind of creepy, and I think it pulled the whole thing together relatively well. So, last but not least, we have Ladytron's album Light and Magic. And I found this song through TikTok, of course, because it pretty much went viral there this month or last month. I don't really remember. And you can tell that it's specifically their song 17 that went viral, because on that album, the most listens a song has is about 500,000, and 17 is up in 12 million. So it's really good. The album came out the year 2002, so it's not a very recent album, but I did think that their album cover was very, very cool. It had a very 2000s-ish vibe to it, and it just looked it just looked cool, so I decided I really wanted to draw it. And here I have the line art process in the video, so you can see that, and I'm laying down a base color, trying to match the skin as good as possible, which turned out to be a little bit of a challenge, considering when you pick up skin sometimes from a picture, it can get really light or really dark. Even if it's the same color, it looks on a different background, it looks differently. So I had to change it so it looked similar to the picture. And I remembered a trick I've heard a lot of other artists use, which is using a blue color instead of a black color whenever you want to paint something black, because then you can save the black for line art and other things, and it still looks like a black color, but it just pulls the whole picture together in a very different way. So that's what I tried. Here I'm filling in the little pointy hair pieces on her head, and I also did the same blue. I think I might have made it a little bit darker on their shirts even, but I still did not paint in any of the black colors with the color black, because I wanted to keep them blue so I could shade them and make them darker. You can see me overusing blush as always. It's one of my favorite blush and highlight favorite part of both makeup and art, and I really tried to make her cheekbone pop, because she has a very, if you see in her album cover, she has a very prominent cheekbone, and I thought that was a feature that was very important. And I think you could tell by now that I did exaggerate their bottom eyelashes a lot. I think it made them look a lot rockier, I guess, like a little bit alternative, a little bit edgy. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's do that. It looks really cool. And I ended up keeping it because it did look cool. Here I think I did mess up her lips a little bit. I don't remember if I went back in and changed it, but the highlight looks cool, so you lose some, you win some. And that's how you gotta see art. And here, a little cool tip from a okay-ish artist. Don't use don't use white for the whites of the eye. Use a slightly yellowish color instead, like a more toned down color, because it looks a lot better. Here we had a time skip because I didn't have time to add anything. This took a lot of time since there were 2 people, so you can see me adding the finishing details with a little bit of highlights in the hair, a little bit of highlights on the face, and I think this one turned out really cool. It's definitely one of my favorite that I did. I'm trying to decide between the MXM Toon and the Ladytron one, but I think they both turned out really cool for someone who doesn't really draw cartoonish. And I think we skipped the finishing details here. And we're just gonna go right into the finished product. Here you go.